is one of those teams, Trey, if they can just get this quarterback thing figured out, if Martinez can be the answer, K-State can be dangerous for some people.
And Martinez put up huge numbers at Nebraska over the previous 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the problem. The teams weren't very good during that time, and as Paul, a.k.a. Scipio Tex, pointed out a couple weeks ago, and as he does also in his 2022 Longhorn football prospectus, Thinking Texas Football, the guy had plenty of opportunities to win games against mediocre to bad competition, and it did not happen. Remember him after his freshman year? He was receiving serious Heisman love heading into his sophomore campaign. I remember most of us at this station at that time kind of scratching our heads saying, look, he had a couple of nice highlight plays, but the team wasn't nearly good enough for him to receive these sorts of accolades right now. And unfortunately, the next 3 years, I think, only added evidence to our questioning of him being a Heisman candidate after that freshman year.
Is he going to have a Brock Purdy trajectory, ultimately, where it starts high? Not that he was projected to maybe be that good, but then it comes back down?
Yeah, and he was never able to get rid of some of the really bad habits that kept him from succeeding more in his younger years. You may be right about that, but I think if there is a situation for him to go to that really helps him to turn into a bit more of a game manager who can make plays with both his arm and legs at times, it's Kansas State, a team that is going to do everything in its power to do one of two things: either establish the run with Deuce Vaughn or figure out some other way to get Deuce Vaughn going because he is easily one of the best, most exciting, most fun to watch weapons in this entire conference.
Here's the other name to keep in mind. If you're talking about a quarterback who knows when to run and knows when to throw, when he played, nobody did that better than Collin Klein. And now he's the OC. He'd been the quarterback's coach. They've turned him into the OC because things got clunky at the end of the year. Lost a game to Texas that they didn't think they should have lost. They lost to Baylor at the end of the year. Now it's Collin Klein. And they whipped LSU in that bowl game. I know LSU was a mess at the time too, Trey, but they hung 42 on them in a bowl game. If Collin Klein, if that team had been a little healthier coming to Waco that night, he might have ended up with that Heisman, even with a guy wearing maroon that was having a hell of a season. Klein was the leader going into that night, so he does know how to balance that out. Can he dial up Adrian Martinez enough to get them off to a good start? That's what's big for me. We'll look at this schedule here. They have the perfect bye week after the first 6 games, but my question is, can they go 5-1 in their first 6? Because their second 6 is nasty.
Let's hear the schedule.
They start South Dakota, Missouri, Tulane. So can they beat Missouri at home is going to be the first big question. Then they go to OU. Is that a loss for sure? I don't know, but right now I'd lean OU. Then it's Tech and at Iowa State before the bye. I think they can win both of those. So are you 5-1? Because then your second half is at TCU, Oklahoma State at home, host Texas, at Baylor, at West Virginia, and then finish with Kansas.
I think that even though that is the tougher half of the schedule, I think the home-away split set up nicely for them. To get Oklahoma State and Texas at home back-to-back?
Yeah. Can they get one of those? So right now I'm thinking, can this be a 7-5 kind of team?
I think this team has the potential to be 8-4 or better. I don't know what the Vegas line is on them right now, but if the Vegas line was 7.5, I would take the over there.
This is a definite team to check out. And so the day that Texas plays Alabama, it's not one you're going to pay attention to. But if Kansas State can just handle their business against Missouri, then we'll move on to the rest of it. If Missouri beats them, things change. But if they get that win against Missouri, it's big time. The other name, let's go ahead and throw out because we're going to have to learn how to say it. Felix Anudike Uzoma is going to be my try that again.
I think you're right about that.
Felix Anudike Uzoma is a hyphenated name. He's a badass defensive end that wears number 91. He's somebody to look out for. He is preseason all Big 12.
Yeah, pay close attention to both lines of scrimmage. Kleiman traditionally has had a really active defensive line that gets a lot of organic pressure on their own. And on the offensive line, Kansas State typically does have a bunch of corn-fed boys up front doing a good job of blocking. They have to replace all 3 interior linemen off of that offensive line. So how quickly can they get the new guys acclimated and comfortable?
Cooper Beebe off that offensive line is all Big 12 at the beginning of the year. And don't forget Malik Knowles. That's another name you'll remember. A receiver, but also a return guy. One of those all-purpose K-State guys that seems to exist every single year. Malik Knowles still rocking that number 4 for Kansas State. So they are our number 20 team in the Horn Top 20.